I part of my goal, my mission is to not freak out people with the tarot, but to allow for them to use it in a way of again, kind of seeing the energy, seeing patterns, seeing cycles, and seeing where one is at.
Hi, I'm Paul, speaking for Free Range with Gail of Gaia. Today, Gail welcomes to the program Jason D. McKean. He's a heart-centered advisor who's read for thousands of people. He teaches tarot, conducts meditation and past life regressions. The list goes on and on. So without further ado, let's welcome Jason D. McKean to the program.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is Gail of Gaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. And who we have with us today is a very exciting man, Jason D. McKean. He's known as the Tarot Wizard. He is also very well known for his albums. So Jason, why don't you introduce yourself and tell the listening audience about your background, and then we're going to play a little portion of one of his albums, and you can get a feeling for where we're going to go here, and then we'll go to a tarot reading based on maybe current events. How's that sound?
Sounds wonderful. Thank you for having me on Free Range today, Gail. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Well, you have quite a background. You come from a family of psychics and ministers, and you have a new book out, correct?
Yes. Magic Channel tarot reading with the Tarot Wizard. That's me. And I just brought this out because it was time. I was told by a bunch of psychics, it's like, you should write a book. I see a book in your future. And I'm very reluctant towards like a lot of things that people might say as far as like they might have like they'll see potential in some direction. But unless I'm there, unless I'm like just ready to, go for it, I'm the reluctant tarot wizard. I'm the reluctant chanter. It's like these things have opened themselves up kind of, I don't want to say by accident, because I don't believe in coincidences or anything like that. I think that when you're aligned, when there's an opportunity that opens up, I think that you're ready and you can move in a certain direction that you can start to invest yourself in. And like to give a little bit of background, yes. My great grandfather, my grandfather, Lutheran ministers from the old country, from Deutschland, and really like stern ministers and all.
I came from a Lutheran background, actually, myself. So.
Yeah, and it can be pretty strict, pretty conservative and all.
Very much so.
And I both me and my sister have been more active in metaphysics. I don't see anything wrong with like a structure that one can see as far as like a religious upbringing or so. It's like you can appreciate the divine, a connection with something outside of yourself there. But do I resist that firm, like, this is what the divine is, that strict understanding? Yes, absolutely. I feel that, you can't put God in a box. I don't think that,
Yes.
You can take something that is not only immense, but continuously moving, right? Continuously
energy, vibration.
Absolutely. And as we move through life, right, we witness all this change, this evolution, this blossoming within ourselves, and to say that a divine energy would just be one thing and just kind of lock it in, that's pretty presumptuous. And so I feel that spirituality is I like that term more than religion per se.
So do I. So do I. I'm on the same page with you on that one, because even on tarot alone, they in most religions that's a taboo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And in like all the major religions, it's to be able to, look to set a course for yourself,
Exactly.
that's frowned upon too in the major religions, because that's more the doctrine, the religion that wants to set up the framework for you.
Mhm.
And if you're like going about it in your own way, then it's like, oh boy, what are you up to?
Yes, and they always have us looking outside of ourselves instead of inside of ourselves, and that's where it all really, manifests from.
Yeah, and I think that the tarot specifically, like when I started reading it, like early on, it's like I was looking for the mechanics of it. I was looking to, it's like, understand it in a way that it fit a certain like framework or so. And as I came to read it more and more, it was like I understand like the flow of energy part of it.
Mhm.
And how that's kind of a loose framework. But I feel that we as spiritual beings and also physical beings, that we look to like reside in both of those worlds and to fulfill both of those worlds. And the only way to connect with both of them at the same time is to keep that energy moving, to keep a flow of energy moving. And I think the tarot is a wonderful way of looking at that flow of energy. And it's like my going back a little bit to my own path. It's like I didn't become a tarot reader until later in life. I don't know that I had the wherewithal to sit with others in a patient way, in a compassionate way. Because I like to kid, I guess, that no one comes to a tarot reader and says, "My life is going great. Prove me otherwise." Have you ever done that, Gail? Have you ever gone to a reader and say, just tell me what's going on? It's like everything's pretty good right now. Tell me what's going on.
Actually, I haven't, but I intend to. I haven't gone to a reader, and that's the truth.
What?
But, yeah, I know.
What? Well,
I've read about everybody else, but I haven't done it myself. So I'm supposed to do one with Ted, but I'd also like to do one with you eventually, and then I can share my experience with the listeners.
There's a lot of people who I've read before that have never seen a tarot reader, or they can have misconceptions. It's like our entertainment facility, Hollywood and all that tends to, make a lot out of the spiritual path. It tends to take things that are that can be mysterious, right? But exploit them to where it makes them scary.
Yes, and I think we've been, and I know I was rather indoctrinated with the religious aspect of it, which was, it's all taboo and so on and so forth. But I have, gone way past that. And sometimes I think it was a matter of actually, having extra resources to do a reading or something like that, because I wasn't, I raised 3 children by myself and so on. So that was always a block. And so that always comes into play to a certain extent. It's not that I've ever been rejected it or anything like that. In fact, I've always been rather fascinated by it. I even bought myself a tarot deck, but I didn't know how to use it. And
it's funny because I have a lot of friends who they are collectors of tarot decks, and they don't read at all. It's almost like an art collection. And I only have a handful of decks. I have my teaching decks. I have the Rider-Waite, the classic Rider-Waite. because it's well supported on the internet. So it's just a great learning deck. I read from the Wizards Tarot. Llewellyn came out with a deck maybe 12 years ago. That was it was like based on the Rider-Waite. All the major arcana is different, but you see the very similar arc of progress, the cycles and all that, similar to the Rider-Waite, and it's a little bit more gentler. Part of my goal, my mission is to not freak out people with the tarot, but to allow for them to use it in a way of again, kind of seeing the energy, seeing patterns, seeing cycles, and seeing where one is at in a cycle. And if you have images that can be too visceral looking, something that shows a lot of like what can be, like, you look at it like the 10 of swords, right? You see a body out in the field and there's 10 swords sticking in their back and it looks like a grisly murder scene. Is that helpful for someone to say, oh, this is my card of the day, this is where I'm at, what does this mean for me? And it's like, when you understand it, when you understand about the swords and the mind and all that, then it becomes a lesson for just seeing like a snapshot, a moment in time where one may feel stuck, one may feel like they're not making progress in how it is that they want to make progress towards their goals, towards something that they're doing in life. And I shy away from decks that are a little bit too graphic or too visceral for the vast majority of people that I read for, who are either newcomers to it or I'm not looking to scare them with it, to like buy into that, where what we're doing is like looking to see when you're going to die and all of that crap.
Yes, definitely. And that's important because to have it portrayed in the way it is meant to be is pretty important. And I don't think your average person, without doing some study, would know how to do that correctly, or might misinterpret things. Would you say that's true?
Yeah. I get into that a lot, and a lot of it is because of just the like the parlor game aspect of it too. Like if US Games is putting out decks, it's like they have to abbreviate like a lot of the meanings and stuff to accompany the decks, with a little booklet or whatever. And so, like that card, like the 10 of swords, it's like one of the key words for it is ruin. That's heavy, right? To lay on someone. I can see where, the energy is something that's can be serious, but to say, okay, let's look at your love life. Oh, the 10 of swords. Well, you're never going to find love.
Good luck with that one, right?
Right. I mean, talk about ruining, like, just someone's like spirit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not about crushing someone's spirit. And that may be kind of that odd mix of, minister, reverend, psychic background.
Well, Jason, I'm going to tell you, I think that's very important, because I have worked in hospitals before, and I have had situations where doctors might come in and tell somebody that they have 6 months to live, and they program themselves for that to happen.
Yeah.
And so that is a very negative thing, and I can appreciate what you say about that, because it's very important to uplift people as much as possible, I mean, to find those areas that we can affect change in our life. I like to see it as a spectrum of, like, I have or I take issue with words like control and power, and partly because it's like, if we look to take like full control of our life, it's like, if you look at that spectrum of influence, of the influences that we have, that the outside influences have, it's like
the everything from the celestial, the moon, like affecting the tides and, all the water on the planet to, everything from governmental laws or our society laws, all of the influences, what our loved ones can tell us, either as we're growing up or whatever, right? It's like there's a lot of stuff that's hitting us. And so if you look at that spectrum of stuff that, we have control of, or that we can, do, what we're responsible for, what we can do for ourselves, it's a thin sliver of that, but to activate that, right, to activate your own light, to push back, to pressurize yourself against the onslaught of other pressures.
Mm-hmm.
That's where, one can really take a serious look to see what their abilities are, their talents, their gifts, and to express those, to move those outside of themselves, and to feel like they are living life, to be engaged in life, to the extent that one can. And,
mm-hmm.
And I don't try to place any limits on anyone as far as like how wide a beacon they can broadcast, right? If it's just, within their immediate environment, their household or their neighborhood, or, it's just like, we can affect the world. And so if one is, if they're wired, I guess, to do that, if that's what they want to do, then absolutely. And go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it all begins within. We can't change anybody else. We can only change ourselves. I think that's a very, enlightening thought to keep in mind. And we can affect the people around us by being in tune with ourselves and what we're projecting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's like that harmony within ourselves. It doesn't mean that we're just sitting there, ohmed out, right? Which I know about that too, but
we're going to go there too.
but where, one can have their goals, they can, but I like to see it as an alignment, which again, the tarot is like really great at kind of helping show when someone is not like fighting themselves, when they're not wrestling themselves. And like a perfect example of that is like the Three of Swords. Again, another swords card. That's why the swords and the tarot are like kind of like, oh my God, don't pick a swords card because it's just gonna show something ugly. And it's like, no. It's all information. And it's like, we can take that information and we can work on ourselves. That's the goal. But, you have this beautiful heart and three swords, stabbing that heart, visceral image. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, what does this mean? And, I see it as, it's like the heart, our heart center, that part of ourself, it's an intelligence. And it wants what it wants to, as far as within us, it's like we can, follow our heart, right? We can move in a direction that our heart is recognizing and saying that's where I want to go. And also within us is our mind, our brain, like wanting its say too. Saying, if you do that, then this is going to happen. And if that happens, then this is going to happen, and it can start to lay all these traps for us. Right.
Exactly.
And so that inner wrestling, that wrestling match that takes place. And when we're able to align, when we can, allow for the permission within ourselves to not wrestle ourselves, to say, this is what I want. This is the direction that I'm going to go in. These are the potential steps for it. But, we can kind of like, have a loose framework for it. We can, not lock it down so much, so that, we don't build a lot of expectations and all, and be within that harmonious place within ourselves. And that's energy. We can project that energy out into the world. We can move towards our goals with that energy. We can influence others. We can have an effect on others who see that, and maybe they want to get in on that. What is that person doing that they're able to get what it is that they want in life? Because I'm sitting here and I'm just like fighting myself, sabotaging myself. I'm like having like these goals, and then I'm like clamping down, and I'm that self-talk that says, who are you to want that?
Yes, that's where does that come from? Where does that come from?
Well,
do you have any answers for that for people that are having that issue?
Well, it's
different for everyone, I'm sure, but still,
it's I like to not get too locked into kind of the chicken and the egg, kind of the cause and effect, so much as because that certainly there can be a singular event. There can be just events that just build up over time that get reinforced. Right?
I see. Yes, that makes sense.
And when one recognizes something in the present, then it's about how one can make changes for the future. And so I see it more as like recognizing it and working through it. We're all works in progress. We're not a perfect expression of ourself.
Exactly. That's so true. What about the Schumann resonance and the energy of the planet at this point in time? How do you think that is affecting people?
Did you say the Schumann resonance?
Schumann, yes, Schumann resonance.
That's a great question. I don't know that that's my area of expertise, but what it is that I do recognize, and it's by talking with a lot of people from around the world at this time, and certainly they can be affected by, again, those larger influences, right? It's like the harmonics of the world. I mean, of the earth itself. Absolutely, it has its say, right? And if we're used to it being one thing and then it starts shifting, right? Then yeah, it's like we can find ourselves in wanting different things. Like our I don't know that it's always an upward trajectory, to be honest with you, Gail. As far as like where it's all like that peaceful, loving and just it certainly can get there, but do we take two steps back as well? And again, looking at what people want in their life, sometimes it's very spiritual. What they want, they want to be in touch with the divine. Sometimes that same person, I can see them a little later, and they're wanting something a little bit more from the earth, some kind of security. They're wanting something more financially sound around them, or the relationship aspect where they're not feeling supported or loved. And it feels like it's like vibrationally, right? It can be kind of different in that, and to not be judgmental about it, right? Because again, it's like being that spiritual being in a physical world. It's like sometimes one is wanting to be more spiritual. Sometimes one is wanting to be more physical. More sensual. like feeling the senses of, that physical aspect of love, of, feeling like you're in a comfortable place in the environment, in the people that you're around.
What about ascension? People talk a lot about ascension, and the planet is going to ascend to the fifth dimension and that type of thing. Do you have any perspective on that?
I think that some people are ready, for that. I don't think that everyone's like ready to vibrate at that higher plane, and people been doing the work, to get to that place of being able to sustain that vibration.
Yes, like 1 minute you can be feeling blissful and high and in a positive way, and then something can happen and it can take you down. At least, and then you have to learn how to manage that type of thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's like that attainment of like the Buddhahood, or the ascended master, right?
Yes.
Who's done the work, who can kind of lock in that vibration, as opposed to the fluctuation of like, oh yeah, I'm there, and then it's like something happens and you're like, back to square one. There's a thing in I guess a passage or whatever in my book, and it's funny because I just turned to it, I just opened to it.
Well, then you were meant to say it. In my opinion.
And in this book, it is a reminder to the tarot reader, the one who sets sacred space for others, so that one can really dive in and look at one's life. But it can apply to those on the spiritual quest too. And it just says, not everyone is at the same place on the spiritual path. And, with the planes, the different planes of existence and all, it's like, we can get locked in, if the environment is there, again, it's like, we're a conscious being. We work on that consciousness, that awareness within ourself of a purpose, of being, like allowing for this unfolding within ourself to be more and more, the next layer of this and that.
I've heard people say that they want to live on purpose, or they want to contribute, but yet they don't know how to do that or what to do. And another thing, if you would define what the work really is, because sometimes people, and I'm just asking that for the sake of others who go, well, what do you mean, the work? What are you talking about?
Right. And is the work the same for everyone?
Probably not.
Well, it may have like a different form of it, but because of the way I read tarot and looking at the energy of things, it's like the word that I most am attuned with is the word fulfillment, where instead of like happiness, like if we look to be fulfilled in life, then we are connecting our spiritual self, that self that can transcend death, right? Or the decay of our physical self. We can connect with that that part of ourself, and look to be of service, if that is what we are called to, and see, this is where it's a very individual process, right? This is something that religions and all, they can set an environment, right, where it's like, okay, you're going to now just meditate upon this, or but that thing that we are meditating on, it's like that's the spark, that's the essence of our own self. And I've been fortunate to know pretty much exactly what I've wanted to do in life, and from pretty much the get go, and not that it's been the same thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah.
Not that it's been like, well, I'm going to be a wizard, right? It's like my shirt says it, right?
Exactly.
But it's like, like for me, wizard energy anyway is like just being able to just dive in and look to, be at one's best in anything, whether it's technology or art or music or whatever. But to find that path within, right, where you're connecting with it on a soul level, where you can see it being like displayed out in the world. You have people that you admire who look like they are activating that, and you resonate with it, and you look to see that it can bring moments of happiness to you as you express it, but it's not, like happiness to me is like those places of where it's like, oh, it's my birthday, I'm gonna have chocolate cake, and it's like you can't subsist on chocolate cake.
Exactly. And that's very temporary.
Right. It's like looking for the orgasm in every every moment of your life. It's like you wipe yourself out. But if you are looking to have meaning, where each day you wake up and there's this idea of like, wow, I get to do this today, and then you do that. You look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, this was a good day. There's like this accomplishment here, and
yes,
and that it doesn't mean that it's the easy path. It doesn't mean that you don't place yourself on these battlefields that where there can be stress and all, but you feel like you have meaning there.
Yes.
Is everyone like at that same place in the degree of meaning that they feel? It's like, no, sometimes there's only like just a spark. Sometimes there's a little bit more, but some people will lead lives that it's almost like a puzzle, and one piece can be completed, and then they move on to the next piece, and then the next piece, and then later on in life it feels like, oh, I did this because of this, and it starts
to fit together. Yes, that's so true. That's so very true. I can see that in my own life, and I hope that other people are able to see it in their life as well. And I was just thinking, how about if we share the Om from one of your albums for a couple of minutes, and then we could have maybe do a tarot reading on current events? Is that
absolutely?
Okay, cool.
So
Cool.
so let me set this up here.
Okay.
Where this album is called Om Sanctuary, and it's a full complete piece. It's like 60, almost 70 minutes of music, and it's used in yoga studios throughout the world. It's used in meditation halls, birthing centers.
Oh, wow.
so Om Sanctuary is almost about 20. No, it's more than 20 years old. So one thing that I wanted to mention about like my association with the Om, which is considered to be the highest tone in the universe, as far as very very I like to steer away from the word like powerful, like it's a powerful tone. It's a blessed tone, it's a sacred tone, and
it's extremely soothing.
So it's like the very first like my association with the Om before Om Sanctuary was giving voice to an album called Eternal Om, and that it is probably about 30 years old now, and that's been played all around the world. Sold millions of copies. It's something that I was not planning to do. It was like one day showing up at work in a publishing company and standing in front of a microphone for like 10 minutes and oming there. And it's like my musical background was more like rock and roll and other forms of music, and yet I was able to tap into something in that moment, and it's like my voice was duplicated and just but utilized so that it expressed this incredible tone, and so I feel very, very humbled by that, very, very blessed to be a part of it. And, since then I made like Om Sanctuary. That was my next album. And then many more there. And it's all on Spotify. It's iTunes, Amazon. It's, it's out there in the world for people to listen to. And it really does affect people in really positive ways, as far as healing ways.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Gail.
Perhaps we can take it from here to maybe we could read something on, do a tarot reading on current events. Is that possible? Or
anything is possible with the tarot.
tarot. I got to say it correctly.
No. It's sometimes it's tarot. It's just never tarot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't heard that one, but okay.
I like because I'll interchange, and I don't know that there's any rhyme or reason to it, or it's tarot or tarot. I don't know if it's a California thing or what.
No. Well, I was wondering if we could look at the possibility of. Have you heard of The Event? Everybody talks about The Event.
Well, why don't you like explain it, to your listening audience?
Okay, well, I was thinking about the possibility of looking at what the cards would say about upcoming events. I've heard it described as a green swan event, which is a major climate issue.
Right.
And then I've also heard it, and then it goes from that into a black swan event, which is a serious financial event. And then I've heard it said, we go from the dark to walk through the dark to walk into the light. So it would be interesting to see if the cards see anything of that nature.
Okay. So Gail, it's like, while you were talking there, I don't believe in like the exact like nature of time and space with the tarot. It's like one can, could choose cards at any time and they'll resonate. All right, with it. So it's like while you were talking about it, I pulled cards, and And this, it's really interesting what comes up. I pull in threes because there's power in the number three, but it's gives like a solid look at something. And it's like the Ace of Wands comes up.
Oh, what? Okay.
I'll just show you the cards first.
Okay.
The Ace of Pentacles and the Five of Cups.
Oh my. Okay. What does that mean?
I don't know. No, I of course I know. I'm the tarot wizard, right?
Exactly. If you don't know, we're in big trouble.
Right.
Exactly.
So this is, I mean, the aces, like the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, these are, they show like a new cycle that begins, right? They show the beginning. And the Wands is the spirit. The Pentacles is the manifestation. It's like what we'll see out in the physical. And so are there, is there something that's afoot, right? That's going to, be of, I guess, resonance to our own spirits. We're talking about, if people are ready to go to that next level, if they're willing to take the work that they've done and make the ascension, with the changes that occurs. And I think that again, not everyone is willing to like kind of either see it or to like see themselves in like a new light. And to give you an example of that, I think that when the pandemic kind of hit last March, like almost a year and a half ago, it's like a lot of practitioners that I knew, it's like they were seeing this time of a lockdown and all as a chance to make changes in their life, where they had been moving along at a pretty rapid clip, and then all of a sudden the brakes are put on, and it's like seeing it as a sign that the universe is saying, okay, there's this change that's going on. Are you going to use the time to work on yourself, to maybe learn something new, invest in yourself, or are you going to hook up to Netflix for the next year and just catch up on a lot of series, right? Are you just going to kind of fritter the time away? And so that time has been put forward by a lot of people to see themselves in a different light, to work on themselves, and so that's part of that cycle. This is the same part of that. It's like an extension. It's like one levels up to the next level, and then so it's going to begin again, where it starts with all that spiritual work that one has done, and it's going to be expressed in a letting go. I see the Five of Cups as a card of where there is some loss. There's going to be a time when there's frustration, disappointment, when there's going to be gains that we thought we have made. They're going to be lost, but it's not about just dwelling on that, and it's about seeing what can be reached. I see it as an energy of letting go of what we kind of thought were the expectations of where it is that we were headed. And oddly enough, that card signals to me that when we let go of kind of our expectations of what we thought was going to be, there's like another layer there it can be actually better for us, where if we hold on to it, then we're just staying rooted in the past. If we let go of it, then we can get to another layer that is more beneficial to us, and it's like things that we didn't necessarily see that was going to be better for us. So it looks like it can feel like it's a tough time that we're coming up against, but to definitely not give up hope, to get, because we'll get to the other side of it. And what's on the other side of it is the Ace of Cups. It's fascinating that, in 6 cards that, 3 of the aces show up, because they're about a new cycle that begins. The Ace of Cups,
Oh, that's fascinating.
the Knight of Cups, and the Ten of Swords.
Uh-oh.
Right?
We talked about that one.
Yeah, but that reaction that you just had, that's exactly what people will do, but without understanding that card. The cups, heart center, where there is more of that intelligence coming into the fore, and that is where one is connecting with others in meaningful ways, where there is a spiritual understanding with what it is that we're looking to communicate with others, rather than it just being so mental, right? Because this is that card where, the constructs of what can be too much about, what we feel about or what we think about the future, as far as like how the structure of our plans, and it can be where, if we're not if we're not so like stuck in what we think is like how something needs to be,
Our expectations.
It's we can like build a lot of mental constructs about how something should be, right? And it can it's like building these traps, because if one particular part of it doesn't like come to fruition or so, then it's like all of it like becomes just this weight that keeps us just locked in to like one place. And the tarot is about energy. Life is about energy. It's about showing how we can be more like flexible within ourself, within our own heads, within our own hearts. And it feels like what we're moving towards is more of this heart expansion. And it's like,
That's
shown
a good thing.
by this Knight of Cups. All knights they signify action, and also where knights are warriors, right? They're ones who, when we have an identity as ourself, as someone who is looking to be more assertive in our own being, where we're looking to we are looking to affect change for ourselves, right? Sometimes that's where it starts, and where we have to step out more, right? We have to be in that warrior, where we're fighting for ourselves. We can be fighting for others too.
That seems. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that seems so appropriate with what's going on. I mean, it just really resonates with me.
And to where, it's like, again, it's like the battle within ourselves is always, with that head and heart, direction. And it feels like what we're moving towards is making sure that our heart center, that these places of connection within our humanity, our compassion, our understanding, that we're not just a mental organism, but we need to feel, we need to connect as well. And we're not looking to get locked down, right? We're not looking to get in a place of being stuck. So I see, where, however it is that one being the individual can keep, kind of pushing out that heart centered energy, where you're seeing others, you're communicating with others, you're expressing what it is that you're feeling inside, the concerns that you can have that are in that part of that. I like to think of it as sometimes the best part of ourself is that heart center, and where we don't get too locked in. Both that Five of Cups and the Ten of Swords, they have a similar energy about either getting locked in by the past of what we feel like we're losing and not seeing what we're gaining, and where we're looking for like that control of like, this is going to happen and this and this and this and this and this, and then those things like not happening like we've got it planned, and where we don't buckle in under the weight of that, or we just can say, you know what, okay, a plan is like, it's like driving, right? It's like, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to go on this street, and then that's what I'm doing. And it's like, oh, there's road work there and everything is stopped. Okay, God, I guess I'm not going to the grocery store unless, oh, I can go the detour here. I can be flexible in that. And it's like, okay, took me out of my way a little bit, but it wasn't like I was like just so intent in one direction towards something. And it's just like, I like to think sometimes, our mind, it likes to know.
Yes.
And what is the bestest invention that we've created for that? And that's the GPS. All right, because it's like the GPS, it has this overview of our beginning point, our end point, and we can say, oh yeah, that's the route I'm going to take, and it's going to take this long, and beautiful. So those of us that live in a big city, or a city that it can be tied up at certain times of day and all that, it's like a beautiful invention because it satisfies that place of knowing within our mind. And it's not reality, in that it's not the movement itself. It's not the trip that we're on, right? It's just a representation of it. And so getting tripped up in that representation of it, that's the, how we can avoid getting stuck.
You know what that reminds me of is that when you're talking about, expecting to go one place or whatever, is like if you have to move and you don't know where you're going to move to.
Yeah.
The hardest part is not knowing until you actually find something. And it's just like, and not knowing which way you're going to have to go in order to find that place. So that's a really good example. GPS.
But what is it that we can trust, right? So, because sometimes when we have to move, there's another force at work within us, right? There's another intelligence within us that is like, it's giving us that permission. It's like saying, oh, it's time to move. I want to like go in that direction. I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe it's a city, right? That's calling to us. Maybe it's a career move, right? Maybe it's a relationship move. We may not have all those questions answered about, what we're going to find on the other side of it. But usually there's another part of us that is speaking in that. And that can be our heart center, can be our spirit, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. So true. So true. And so we can't get locked into it's got to be this way or it's got to be that way or what have you.
That's why the swords, because it represents the mind. That's why the swords is like the trickiest suit in the tarot, where you have like the 10 of swords and the 3 of swords with the swords and the hearts, and the 7 of swords and the 8 and the 9. It's just like a lot of the swords. They're like, not that card.
Yeah, and they picked, and you picked the one with the most swords. So
right. But it's like, it's a cycle, right? It's like, the aces through the 10s. And when you reach the 10s, it's like there can be a point of like, okay, this is like, this cycle is ending, right? It's we're going to like start the next cycle. And there's always choice in when we start like the next cycle of our life. Do we learn from those cycles? Do we say, oh, I'm just going to do rinse and repeat? I'm just going to do the same things over and over and over. Or, if we're able to, see, oh, well, this worked and this didn't work, let's do more of this that works, right? So like that's wisdom, right? To be able to see that and to incorporate, that which works.
What I'm hearing is being open to change, even if it's not what you had your mind set on. Is that correct? Would that be correct?
Well, I think you just described life right there, right? That's the bumper sticker, right? Of like,
okay. Oh, I have had a great deal of change in my life, so I'm not afraid of it. So, in fact, I have a hard time understanding how some people can stay in one place and one position and so on as long as they do. I actually sometimes admire them for it because it doesn't work for me.
It can be where you're just wired for it, right? It's like where you can pick up and you have a faith within yourself that the next place will it will fulfill what it is that you're being called to in it. It's again, not everyone is at the same place on the spiritual path. It's like I remember meeting a person who lived not that far from New York City, and they were in their 60s. They had never been to New York City. Yeah,
I can get that. I can understand that because I was, I was in California at a time and I never made it to the Redwood Forest, and I could kick myself for that right now, but that's a whole different aspect. But I would love to see that someday. But anyway, they probably weren't really drawn to New York City.
But 60 years?
That's a long time. Yeah, I probably, this is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And being, not that, take a couple hours drive.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there once and I remember looking down from a hotel way up and seeing people herds of people. I mean, literally herds of people. I'm going, oh my God, I would never want to live here. But that was me.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's that. I mean, I find that New York City, because it's so concentrated there, that, like when I'm walking the streets there, when I have walked, just those alleyways, and it's you pick up like so much of people's stories and all of the energy there, and it's too intense for me. It is way too intense. LA, it's much more spread out, and you just don't pick up like everyone's energy there. It's like,
that is so true. Yeah, that's a very good point, a very good observation, because when I think about it, because I've been to both places at one time or another, and I would have to agree with you on exactly what you're saying. It's true.
Yeah, it is like, sometimes the more, sensitive individual, it's like they need their own, to kind of pull out of that space.
Yeah. So true. Well, this has been a wonderful experience, and I was thinking that I would love to do it again. And we've been going for almost an hour now, so I
What?
think, yeah,
Isn't
really,
that fun how
isn't
time
it
just
fun?
goes, just flies
Boom.
by?
Exactly. And I love what you do past life regressions too, right? That's
That's
another
right.
thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that can be, where, if someone is really quite, um, uh, oh, I hate to use the word dogged because I love dogs and
Uh-huh.
all, but where uh, they can feel like there is a persistent energy that is attached to them. Maybe there's a trauma or something that one
Hmm.
has experienced, and not in this life, but it's just like it's there. It's within their own consciousness, and they're not able to release it. Right? It's like past life regression can help to pinpoint that, and for someone to start to work towards releasing it. Um, and it can also be an exploration too of gifts, of talents, of natural abilities that come through for others, areas of interest. You know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really interesting because I've never had that done, but I've always wondered about it. I've wondered, what is it in that benefits people, and
Yeah, being able to consciously recognize an event that is like again, there's like an emotional charge to it that they have not been able to release, and so it keeps affecting their present. And I with past life regression, I have a phrase. I don't know that it's totally mine. Maybe it's everyone in that field uses it, but it's like your past, it becomes your future until you deal with it in the present.
I am so glad you brought that up because I read that in from your website, and that really resonated with me because that makes so much sense. That makes so
And
much sense.
yeah, and so if you're able to start a healing process towards that,
Mhm.
and it can begin, Gail, with a conscious awareness of it, so that you can start to take the steps towards to healing it. And I believe so much in one, just beginning at the beginning, right? You start at the beginning, and you don't have to take the perfect steps towards it. You can, there can be some trial and error. It's like, if one is wanting to start a process, it's like, sometimes one looks to have a coach or a trainer or something like that. It's
Mhm.
like your first choice isn't always the right choice, right? But it can lead you to the next, and into that finding the fit that can start bringing you more and more progress. So
And I always used to say, trial and error. I've certainly had more than my share of error, but sometimes I think you learn more from the errors than you do from what you
completely.
do right.
Completely. It's and there can be happy accidents too. It's like in art that certainly has happened. But in what can feel like it's out of the blue, but I've experienced more synchronicity in life than I have randomness.
I would agree with that, and that's a good take-home message for people too. That whatever happens in your life, there's usually a reason for it.
Yeah,
Whether you recognize it right away is not what's important. It's to know that you're on a journey
yeah.
and you're going someplace with it, and you'll be able to put the pieces back together um, and understand it more as you progress.
Absolutely. And with the tarot, it's a lot of times you can just kind of pinpoint where you're at in a situation that you're at, and to again access what it is that you can do to affect positive change in your life. That's the what I would see as kind of the magic of tarot. Because it's not something that you're looking to, like when I'm doing reading and all, it's like it's very blind process. It's like all you're looking at is the backs of cards, but you're trusting that the cards that you're choosing or that the other person is choosing, that it will have resonance with them, and that's like where one is activating their spiritual connection and their ability to like I was talking about earlier, where we can like try to put like God in a box, right? Trying to define the divine presence as one thing. It's like, if it is this ever energetic, moving life force that we are all a part of, then being in that and not looking to just define it in very certain terms. It's like it feels like it's a living example of spirituality.
Yes. So to wrap things up, your takeaway for people on the reading that we had today, if you could just give a quick type of summary, that would be awesome. You kind of did already, but
right. No, I because of there were like 3 of the aces there that were showing up. It's as far as don't be afraid of new beginnings, of activating like a direction that you are drawn towards, maybe just a spark within yourself, but to recognize it and to allow for you to see the value in it, and to move through it, to not create too many exact scenarios, or just like it's like not planning too far ahead in it, as far as one can get trapped in like creating too much of a way forward in it, in the mind, right? Because what's happening is a lot of heart energy is being activated at the time. There's intelligence.
That's a good thing, I would think, and not being cemented in the head ideas.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and again, when we use that example of just driving to the grocery store, right? It's like something that's, if we get too set on a specific way of getting there, without allowing for the flexibility of other ways, other options. And what's in that is all this heart energy, this this Ace of Cups, this Knight of Cups, where it's one can use their heart energy to magnetize what it is that they're looking to bring into their life as well, where one is just open. One allows for a where one is able to open up to new layers within themselves of what it is that they're looking to draw into their life, and they become that like magnetized force there that can bring things to them. And it's a I want to use the word like it's a blessed space to be in. It's like something that feels deeper, that one is looking to bring into their life, where they feel more connected with their life. And sometimes one has to give themselves that permission to just open up enough to see that, because one can be fearful. They can close themselves off to it. And this is a time of that opening of the heart center. And it may look different for a lot of us, but I think that the effect of it will still be where, people will feel more invested. They'll feel more compassionate, more loving. And I think that we're crying out for that, to be honest with you, of that deeper level understanding and compassion for each other.
Thank you so much. And I'm sure people will really appreciate this.
Absolutely. I've enjoyed myself. Thank you so much, Gail.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully we maybe can do this again. Thank you.
Absolutely. Blessings to you.
Blessings. I'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Free Range with Gail of Gaia is honored to be affiliated with MyNutra, makers of hemp paste. Hemp paste is a whole food product that still contains most, if not all, of the terpenes, phytonutrients, essential elements, and CBDs of the raw hemp plant. CBD oil manufacturing methods strip away living essential elements, leaving only one, a dead CBD oil. CBD oil alone simply cannot support the entourage effect that occurs when hemp pastes essential nutrients go to work to support your optimum health. Almost 200 terpenes and over 500 other phytonutrients work together with a synergistic effect that simply doesn't happen with CBD oil alone. Visit hemppaste.gailofgaia.com. That's hemppaste.gailofgaia.com to learn more. And be sure to check out the impressive array of hemp-enriched products while you're there. That website again, hemppaste.gailofgaia.com. That's hemppaste.gailofgaia.com. Thank you for joining us for this Free Range production. If you enjoyed this program, please consider supporting Free Range with Gail of Gaia, and you don't have to do it with a contribution only. You can also like, subscribe, and share this video, or share the Gail of Gaia channel. We work very, very hard to bring you the best content and the most interesting guests and the most thought-provoking conversations. If you appreciate that, support the channel in any way that you possibly can. It is greatly appreciated. Thank you.